this all started with two £65 fines.
Yes.
Did you know anything about them?
No.
He didn't discuss it with you at all?
No, he didn't tell us at all.
And how did that spiral, now knowing what you know? What happened?
Well, Jerome, I think, buried his head in the sand with it at first, but he only had 14 days to pay the first penalty charge notice. Otherwise, it doubles after the 14 days. So he got paid every month, so he didn't have a chance to pay that £65.
Because he was a courier, wasn't he? Motorcycle courier, delivering blood from hospital to hospital. Only a vital job, but not paid very much. It was only £38 to £89 a week.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he didn't work. He had asthma, so if his asthma was bad, he couldn't work. If it was raining, he couldn't work. He'd been knocked off his bike a couple of times, so he was responsible. If weather wasn't good, he didn't really work.
But his bike was his life.
His bike was his livelihood. It was his social life and it was his work life.
So this fine goes up after 14 days, and he's not able to pay this fine. And the first thing you know about this is on January the 19th, and this is when the bailiffs arrive at the door.
Yeah.
And so what was the situation? What unfolded there?
I was on my way to work. The bailiffs turned up. I went to work. I said to Jerome, don't let him in, but any problems you have, give me a ring and I'll come home. I'll help you sort it out. About 2 hours later, I got a phone call from him. He told me he couldn't sort it out. In the end, £500 got paid off it. My partner was there, so he came down, paid the £500 off. Then the bailiff came to an arrangement with Jerome over 4 weeks. The rest of the payment had to be made of £500. He had to pay £128 a week over 4 weeks. Jerome didn't have any choice in paying that. He was told that's what he had to pay. So Jerome had to agree to it. The following week, Jerome got a courtesy text from the bailiff telling him payment was due. I think this was on Friday. Payment was due on Monday. Jerome got that text, and then that afternoon he looked up how to end his life.
Yeah.
During those 4 weeks, Jerome got courtesy texts from the bailiff reminding him every time a payment was due. Every time he got a text, then Jerome would do researches on how to end his life. And also he did look up how to seek help. He did do over 20 searches of payday loans. He also researched on trying to get help. He did go on Citizens Advice website.
This real battle in his
head.
Yeah,
he went on all the debt advice searches.
You didn't know it was happening?
No, we didn't know any of it. Well, obviously until the 19th when we did know, but he came up to with the arrangement, but still was battling
and
to
you
try.
thought he was working it out?
Yeah.
Well, the bailiffs came back, and it's happening on March the 7th, and the police were called, and the police at the inquest said that they could see that he was defeated.
He was defeated and indifferent, and Jerome actually did say to the police officer, what's the point? What's the point anymore? Without my bike, I can't work, so there's no point.
Well, because he'd paid 300, there was 200 outstanding, then there was 300 added for bailiff attendance, and so they clamped his bike, and then sat there for 2 hours. For 2 hours.
Yeah. And didn't come back in to let Jerome know what was going on. Jerome he didn't know what was going on. He wasn't informed of what was going on.
So the only way he could pay that money back was by working, and the only way he could work was the bike, which was now clamped.
Yeah, and he did tell them that he needed it. He informed them that he needed his bike for work.
Because also there's a limit. Bailiffs can seize tools of trade valued at less than 1,350. Newlyn, the company, said the bike had been valued at between 1,500 and 2,000, and on that basis the bailiff was permitted to clamp it. But after Jerome's death, you obtained a valuation from Honda that the bike was worth £400.
Oh, which is just so awful. And so whilst the bailiffs were still sat outside, he obviously got to that point where he saw no other option.
No other way out, yeah.
And he walked out and he left. He texted his girlfriend saying that I love you so much. And that was the last anybody heard from him.
Yeah.
And you called the police, didn't you? Because he didn't come home.
No.
His girlfriend didn't know where he was, and this was really out of character.
Yeah, totally out of character. He always knew where he was. He'd let me know 2 weeks in advance if he was going somewhere different. As soon as we knew that he'd sent the text to his girlfriend, being it totally out of character for Jerome, we called the police straight away.
Well, the tragedy is then They'll do the minimal details here, but he was found next day by his brother Nat and a friend in the woods nearby your house.